If you love uncovering the hidden layers of history, make sure to follow for more. Now, let's step back in time. Tonight, we begin not with a king, not with a philosopher, but with something far more dangerous. Dating in the Middle Ages. Because somehow, in a world of plagues, dowries, and watchful eyes, finding love was even more complicated than a 2 a.m. message that simply says, "What are you doing?" This is not a story of butterflies. This is a story of contracts. Picture it, a quiet village, cold air, stone walls that remember everything. You're standing there, wondering how to find love. Do you strike up a conversation, offer a compliment, ask if they come here often? No, that world doesn't exist yet. Here, love is already decided. By your parents, by your lord, by a man who owns more land than you ever will. If you're noble, your fate was sealed before your voice even changed. You may meet your future spouse for the very first time on your wedding day. No long walks, no late night talks, just vows and expectations. Because marriage isn't about love, it's about land, alliances, power. You are not choosing a partner, you are becoming part of a strategy. And if you're a peasant, things are simpler, but not by much. Your family still decides. Maybe they know a girl whose family owns a productive goat. Maybe there's a boy who can fix a roof without falling to his death. That's enough. You're courting now. Congratulations. It's not that people didn't feel love. They did, quietly, dangerously, because here, love is not the goal. Survival is. Inheritance is. Stability is. Falling in love before marriage. Risky. Falling in love outside of it? Scandalous. And yet, you still dream. A glance across the market. A moment at the well. A heartbeat that doesn't follow the rules. Maybe you write a verse. Maybe you imagine something more. But for now, you wait, you obey. You try not to fall for the wrong person, because in this world, love belongs to poets. Marriage belongs to everyone else. So you see someone, something about them lingers. The way they move, the way they laugh, your heart reacts. But your mind knows better, because before romance comes a question: what do you bring to the table? And if the answer is a charming personality, that won't be enough. If you're a young man, you need land, livestock, tools, a roof that doesn't collapse in the rain, because nothing says husband material like 2 healthy oxen and basic structural stability. And if your family can't provide that, there's always the priesthood. If you're a young woman, you need a dowry, coins, clothing, maybe a suspicious number of geese, because wit doesn't secure a marriage. Assets do. And if you fall for someone, truly, it might not matter at all. Because unless your families match in wealth, you might as well fall in love with a cloud. For nobles, it's even colder. Marriage redraws borders, seals alliances, ends conflicts. You are not just a person. You are a treaty. Even peasants aren't safe from practicality. You don't marry for passion. You marry because your land touches theirs. Because your pig pen needs their wheat field. You dream of love. You negotiate irrigation. Still, you try. A small gift, a carved spoon, a handful of berries. Maybe they smile, maybe they don't. Because here, economics is the flirting, and love, just a possibility that might arrive later. But in castles, something stranger begins to take shape. A different kind of love. Not practical, not attainable. Something theatrical. You're a knight now, armor shining, horse restless, heart completely lost. Welcome to the world of courtly love, where desire is performed, not fulfilled. You choose a lady, usually someone already married, and you adore her from a distance, always from a distance, because touching her would ruin everything. So instead, you suffer elegantly. You write poems about her voice, her hair, her existence. You wear her colors into battle. You fight duels over a glance, all for someone you may never speak to. And her role, to remain distant, untouchable, a presence just out of reach, because that distance, that longing, is the entire point. This is love. without contact, emotion, without consequence. A performance everyone understands and no one questions. It's dramatic, beautiful, and completely impractical. But in a world of rules, it gives the illusion of freedom. So you try again. You send a token, a glove, a ribbon, a piece of yourself, wrapped in silence. A message that says everything without saying anything at all. But even this is dangerous. A wrong gift to the wrong person can change your future overnight. Because in this world, even affection must be calculated, and just when you think you found a way to express something real, you realize something unsettling. You were never alone. Every glance is seen, every word overheard. A mother, a priest, a cousin who never misses anything. Love is being watched. You try to speak, to connect, but every moment is monitored, every interaction supervised. Because here, love is not private, it is controlled. And yet, you persist with letters, careful, coded, dangerous letters, words you cannot say aloud, feelings pressed into parchment like secrets. But even those can be intercepted, read, judged, punished. Still, you write, because sometimes a single sentence can feel like rebellion. And then, finally, a break in the system, a festival, music, laughter, movement, a rare moment where rules begin to blur, where eyes meet a little longer, where something almost feels free. But this fragile freedom won't last, because what begins in laughter may end in consequences far more serious than you expect. But this was only the beginning of a much darker turn. The story continues in a moment. Don't go anywhere. And then, for a brief moment, everything changes. A festival. Music rises. Laughter spreads. For once, people are not pretending to be miserable. If you're a peasant, this is your chance. You run, you jump, you chase a greased pig through the mud with dignity or something close to it. Because here, impressing someone doesn't require poetry, just balance and not falling off a hay bale. But the real opportunity? Dancing, structured, controlled, watched, and yet a spin held a second too long. A hand brushing against another, that was everything. In a world of silence, that was a confession. If you're noble, the setting is cleaner, the intentions no less calculated. You recite a verse, compare her eyes to candlelight, offer a trinket, hopefully not made 5 minutes ago by your servant. You share food, a honey cake, a meat pie. If she smiles, you live another day. If she feeds it to her dog, you start over. But no matter who you are never unwatched. A parent, a priest, a gossip, with nothing better to do. One mistake, and your fleeting moment of joy becomes a story told for weeks. Still, for a few fragile hours, you pretend love is simple. That laughter isn't suspicious. That dancing won't lead to consequences. But the illusion fades, and reality returns, because most lives were not lived in castles or poems. They were lived in mud. You wake with the animals, you sleep with exhaustion, and love, it looks different here. You don't search for a soulmate. You search for someone who can survive winter with you. Someone who works hard, complains less, and has decent teeth. That's enough. You don't write poetry. You give gifts, eggs, firewood, a carefully carved spoon, shaped by tired hands and candlelight. You talk while working, at the mill, in the fields, over something that smells questionable. You speak of weather, harvests, who fell into a well this week. And yet, there is something honest here, a quiet kind of love, not built on dreams, but on endurance. And when both families agree, it happens quickly. You marry, you move in together, you bring what you have, a blanket, a goat, and that is enough to begin a life. But make no mistake, marriage is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a contract, a real one, negotiated, measured, witnessed. If you're noble, it becomes something even colder. Families gather, documents are drawn, assets are aligned. You stand there, decorative, while others decide your future. Love, optional. The merger, not. And once it's done, it's done. Divorce is not an escape. At best, an illusion. At worst, A scandal, so people endure, they adapt, they learn to live beside someone chosen for them. And sometimes, slowly, something like love appears. But not everyone accepts this. Some run. A noble daughter, promised to power, falls for a man with nothing. A squire, a risk, a mistake. They meet in secret, whisper in shadows, and one night they disappear. An elopement, a rebellion, a declaration against everything. Back home, chaos, families outraged, alliances broken, reputations burning. Because in the Middle Ages, choosing love could be an act of war. And still, some did it anyway, because no matter how controlled the system, love refused to disappear. Even in monasteries, behind stone walls, under vows of silence, it found a way, in glances, in letters disguised as prayers, in moments that were never meant to exist. And when it was discovered, punishment followed, harsh, public, unforgiving, because this world had rules. And yet, humans kept breaking them. You marry, you try, and sometimes it isn't enough. No escape, no easy ending, just endurance, quiet resentment, silent agreements, hidden affairs, until death finally intervenes, and suddenly freedom returns. A widow, a widower, given a second chance, not for passion, but for something quieter, choice. And for the first time, love might not be assigned, it might be chosen, but even then, nothing is certain. Because love in this world is not just about people, it is about stars, omens, bloodlines, whispers of fate. Are you even allowed to love this person? Are the signs aligned? Are your families too close in blood? Did a raven pass overhead at the wrong moment? Because here, love is not just emotional. It is cosmic, fragile, and always at risk. So where does that leave us? In a world where love is desired but controlled, marriage is necessary but transactional, freedom is possible but dangerous. From stolen glances to arranged unions, to forbidden escapes, every step toward love comes with a cost. And now, the question remains, what happens when people begin to push too far? When desire collides with power? When love stops following the rules and starts breaking them? Because what we've seen so far is only the surface, a carefully managed system, a delicate balance. But systems like this don't hold forever. But the shadows of history are long, and the true darkness is yet to be revealed. Part 2 is coming soon. Subscribe so you don't miss the conclusion of this haunting tale. Until next time.